The music was loud, echoing through the glass room atop the skyscraper. Below, the city lights sparkled like a digital galaxy. 6 young people, the hexagon, laughed, glasses raised high. They were Bitcoin's new elite, flush with fast money and big dreams. Leo, sharp-eyed and grinning, toasted to Bitcoin, to freedom from banks and governments. Cheers erupted. They believed they were pioneers, rewriting the rules. They spoke of a future where anyone could send money, no permission needed. The promise, a world where power was shared, not hoarded. They saw themselves as guardians of this revolution. But beneath the celebration, a quiet confidence lingered, the kind that comes with real power. They were no longer just players. They were becoming the new rule makers. At the center of this leaderless world, they could see and shape what others could not. Even in a world built on freedom, someone always pulls the strings. As the party faded, the hexagon gathered on white sofas, the mood shifting. Maya, the coder, broke the silence. People think this is for everyone, but that's not the whole truth. Leo nodded. We control a lot of the mining power. We know the other big players. We keep the network stable. The myth of decentralization began to crack. In reality, a handful of people, like the hexagon, held the real influence. They could steer the network, approve changes, even sway the price. Maya whispered, if we all sold at once, Bitcoin would crash. The fate of a global currency rested in the hands of a few. The freedom they promised was fragile, dependent on the choices of an unelected elite. They were the system's secret guardians, and its greatest risk. The illusion of shared power masked a new kind of aristocracy. Everyone could play, but only a few decided the rules. The revolution's promise was already compromised. The hexagon's power was invisible, but it was real. Freedom, it turned out, was more complicated than anyone wanted to admit. History repeats itself. Revolutions topple old rulers, but new kings always emerge. The hexagon began to act like royalty, holding secret meetings with other Bitcoin whales. They decided which updates to support, which projects to fund. Their influence grew, shaping the future of Bitcoin to protect their own wealth. They became digital Medici patrons who could make or break new ideas. The world was told Bitcoin was a democracy, but some votes, some wallets were worth millions more than others. Power hadn't vanished, it had just changed its clothes. The hexagon's hoodie-clad rule was as old as history itself. The dream of equal power faded as the rich built invisible walls. The revolution's leaders became the new gatekeepers. The story was no longer about freedom, but about who controlled the system. In the end, the old game of power simply found a new arena. The celebration ended abruptly. Fear replaced hope. An email from a lawyer the FBI was investigating. The government saw the hexagon not as innovators, but as a threat. Their secret meetings and wealth had drawn powerful attention. Panic set in, encrypted phones, coded messages. Paranoia grew. Leo called an emergency video meeting. They think we're a cartel manipulating the market. The line between guardian and conspirator blurred. The old world was fighting back, determined to control or destroy what it couldn't understand. The hexagon was trapped by the very power they'd built. History's cycle continued. New powers rise, old powers strike back. The promise of a decentralized future collided with reality. The game had become dangerous. The hexagon was caught in a storm of their own making. Freedom, once so close, now seemed impossibly far away. The unsettling truth of Bitcoin is this. Even a leaderless system breeds new leaders. Satoshi Nakamoto, the vanished creator, is a ghost in the machine, absent yet holding immense power. The hexagon's story is a warning: power always finds a way to concentrate. Even in a system built for freedom, hidden rulers emerge. Satoshi's million bitcoins loom over the network, a silent potential king. The dream of decentralization is seductive but fragile. We must always ask, who really benefits? Who holds the power unseen? The FBI investigation drags on. The hexagon is quieter, more cautious. The promise of Bitcoin to give power to the many remains unfulfilled. Power never disappears, it just hides in new places. Secret meetings, concentrated wealth, the shadow of a founder. The story of Bitcoin is not just about technology, but about the oldest struggle of all. Freedom is never given, it is always contested. And in the end, the ghost in the machine still waits, watching.